and welcome. Today we've got Jocelyn Healing with us. Hi, Jocelyn.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here. Thanks, Michelle.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And we also have Avital Miller with us today. Hi, Avital.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. My name is Michelle Reinhardt, and I'm coming to you from a community Facebook group called Entrepreneurs Globally Unite. Feel free to jump on over and join us anytime. But today we have, I invited a conversation with Jocelyn. This lady amazes me and inspires me and surprises me every time we connect. And I'm sure that she sometimes surprises herself. But
Yes.
the topic we have is sitting in source consciousness. And Jocelyn's happy to answer questions. So, Jocelyn, firstly, I'd like to hand back to you and just ask if you would please just give us an introduction to yourself and what you are working on currently, and we'll take the call as it goes. We'll see what flows.
Perfect. I would love to. Thank you so much. So, like Michelle said, my name is Jocelyn Healing, and I basically stumbled into consciousness and had several spiritual awakenings that threw me, I call it, into oneness, into outer space, and definitely took some time to orient myself here, and and I would say here as in like planet Earth at the same time. So it has been a couple year adjustment. Before that, I have always been just destined to help people. I love people. I love helping people. And I was a mental health clinician with a private practice in Colorado. And it was a holistic practice. And I never really believed people were broken. And I would tell my clients, I've got great news for you. I'm not going to fix you. And they'd get upset and they're like, what are you talking about? And I say, well, I don't fix things that aren't broken. I'll help you find you, but I definitely don't fix you, and I don't diagnose you, and I don't give you medicine. But we can get there pretty fast if we hold each other accountable. And that's really kind of what consciousness and truth looks like too. Now and then when I access consciousness, I called myself a consciousness consultant. And basically I was working with ego and CEOs, athletes, and I find the mind fascinating, ego fascinating. And I think a lot of times we have a story about what ego is, or a misperception of what it is or what it looks like. And I've always just been amazed with these people that supposedly have a huge ego. They have this intense drive and force about them. And I was like, what is that about? And as I was writing this theory, I basically deconstructed my own ego and accessed consciousness and find this tiny little door to this unseen world, and then ran as fast as I could and traveled. I call it traveled up my soul system. Started hanging out in oneness and got lost in unconditional love, and then decided to basically come back down to earth and share with everybody everything that I found and see and have for them. So
I have 100 questions in that intro, and I'm sure Avital does as well.
That's great. No, thank you. Do you know of anyone else besides you and David who are teaching people how to do business with the consciousness of today? But actually, let me ask this too. Are there still people who the previous ways of doing business apply to? Does that make sense? Because there's people living on.
Okay, so that's a really good.
We'll just tandem and pick her brains while we've got her, if we can get her back, of course.
Yeah. Well, it's this funny thing that I've been going through, really being in business for myself for about a year and a half. And just about everything I tried doesn't work. Like nothing works. And because I knew that our thinking has evolved. So, you wonder too if that thinking might still apply to some people, which is why I was curious, but those might not be my clients. And so I might just have to more intuitively create my marketing instead of trying to follow an old model.
I'm just going to bring Dee in.
Yeah.
And whilst we're waiting for Jocelyn, she's trying to come back in.
Good.
Hello, Dee. Hi, Dee.
Good morning. Good morning. Hello, Abby. How are you?
I'm
Hi.
good. Lovely to meet. Yeah, Avital has joined us as well, and I can just see Jocelyn popping back in now too. So we'll have a full house again and a great conversation. So I'll fill everyone in a little bit about yourself, Dee, whilst I get Jocelyn back in.
Yes, hi, and I'm Dee, and I'm a spiritual medium, psychic medium, and numerologist, and I work with energy every day. And I agree with you. I tell you, must retain your own energy so that you can work on that energy with people, but you can't always bring their energy up. They have to do that for themselves. But it's a lovely point. Thank you, and hello, Jocelyn.
Hello. Welcome, Dee.
Thank you.
So, Jocelyn, back to Avital's question. We had a stab at answering it ourselves. and
Yeah.
Dee agreed that we were on the right track. So, do you recall the question?
Yes, I do. And it was actually a brilliant question. So I would love to answer that. The rules of business still apply to lots of people. One of the things is I have the gift of prophecy, and things are changing drastically. Last year, the vibration of money dropped off, and it looked like an energetic layer. So everything's just energy, ultimately, everything. What's happening is there's going to be shifts in the world of business, corporations, structures. And through those shifts, the companies that will evolve and survive, or are companies that purchase or participate in what I would call conscious business, evolved business, tribalpreneurship, and really a interwebbed connectedness model. So people that run companies or business the people that are working in there need to be equally as invested as somebody that owns it. That means everything's going to need to change. We also can't be putting people in boxes anymore. Meaning roles are going to have to go out the window, and people have to define their own roles. So a lot of things are going to be changing with business. Now, old rules to business absolutely apply, and it all depends on your market and who you're doing things with and like what it means. And so honestly, what I do is I tell my mind, let's get going. And so I have my mind work for me as well. And I'm like, okay, let's access business information. There's still a lot of valuable education and information that we want to access and use, and then tie it into an evolved system. So everything's not out the window. But there's going to be differences in marketing. There's going to be differences in pricing. There's going to be differences in structures. And we want to use a lot of the information that we already have in education to tie that into the new evolved system. Did that answer the question?
Take us back to basics. Can you please tell me what awakening means to you? Is there a right way to continue that to speed it up, if you like? I mean, I've been on this journey for 2 years now. Quite frankly, I'm a bit over it.
Yeah. You're so funny. I know there's people that have spent their whole lives. It's funny because I get that. So the idea to me of awakening or becoming aware is something that's probably happening every single minute, all day, every day, if you are what I would say incongruent or aligned. There are parts of our body and parts of our mind that choose to be oblivious to what's happening. So if we feel an energy, it's very, very common to say like, oh, I'm sad, or I'm angry, or this is hard, or this is a struggle. And the second we start labeling what our physical human body is feeling with our mind, basically we're taking the energy from our body and we're feeding it into the mind, and it's going back and forth. And the mind is something separate, created externally outside of you as well. It's built on perceptions. And we want our mind to work for us. We want it to be kind of like our pet. And so the more open the communication is between all of these parts, you start to become really, really aware, and your states of consciousness, I would say, begin to blend together and merge. So there could be mild awakenings, subtle awakenings, and then there can be very intense ones, which you experienced, Michelle. And a lot of people experience. We have those intense moments where all of a sudden we have this epiphany. And I've had several intense moments, and then I would say 2 very intense spiritual awakenings where like almost I was thwarted out of my body it felt like a comet hit me. And I was like, oh my gosh, what just happened? And I felt an energy come from out of space, throw itself in through my chest, and intense, overwhelming flood of emotions coming down my face. And I hadn't even seen anything yet. And then it's almost like it hit my body, and then I started to see. And so one thing I know about me personally, and I feel like everyone has their own, it's slightly different, but my energy goes first and then I follow. So first, I know I kind of have a feeling like something's going to happen. I'm like, ooh, this is going to be interesting. And then physically, so first it's my energy or my spirit kind of laying the foundation. And then it's my mind, and then it's my senses, and then my body's usually the last part that actually physically feels all of those things. And so it will hit you on every single perception point. And sometimes it could just be an intense emotional experience.
It's probably also just that play of bringing something new out, and the forces that create a little challenge on the way to let it come through.
I agree. We're talking pretty incredible stuff here. It's really exciting. Now, Dee, from your perspective, because I just love your story. Avatel, so you know, Dee and I have been connected for some time now. She's an active member in my community, and I respect her hugely. She's my go-to when I'm stuck. And Dee, you were born awakened. You have
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Absolutely. And I agree with what Jocelyn just said, is that everyone awakens in their own way. And everyone, you said you've been on this path for 2 years, Michelle, and I just like to say congratulations that it's not true, because I can tell you, darling, that your soul has been on this journey for eons. You needed to just spend time doing something else for a while, and then you crashed into, oh wow, I'm into this new sphere. I really have to understand my spirituality. There she is.
I keep getting booted off, so now I'm at a hotel where I'm moving, so I decided to use my personal hotspot. Let's see if this helps. It says I have internet, so I have no idea. It just keeps saying the connection's gone, so I'm assuming it's just all of us. Yes.
Jocelyn, whilst you were AWOL, I mentioned to Avatel that Dee and I have been connected for a while now, and she's, as you would know, a member of EGU. And Dee was born awakened, so it was just a different perspective upon which she was completely agreeing with you that we all do this at our own pace and our own time. Was there anything more that you wanted to add to that before we pass back to Jocelyn?
Oh, I just think it's the most wonderful thing that we can all be doing, is really being on this journey. And just every part of it is just an absolute delight. And it just builds and builds, and your soul just sings when you make that next step. And no one is above anyone else. We're all on the same journey. And because Avatel might be more advanced in one area, and I might be more advanced in another, Jocelyn might be, but we're all heading in the same direction. And this is the thing, it's an equality, but it's such an exciting thing, because no matter how old you are, like me, I'm 70, we can all learn from other people. We can learn, oh, that journey, I went through that, or wow, I haven't done that yet. So we can all learn from each other. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. And, you know, you brought up a really interesting point that you said you were born awakened. I feel as though almost all of us are. And the second we're about 2 years old, we go through it. Basically, we go from an internal locus of control to an external. I remember at 2 years old being hypersensitive to things in my environment and people thinking I had a sensory disorder. And then when I first saw spirits, I was like 4 years old. And when I was hearing things, and like no child that young experiences these other realms and other dimensions. Like, you don't have a mental illness. That's what I mean. And there's no such thing as really mental illness, but a lot of the times when we don't have the capabilities to explain what is happening or to soothe our mind, we automatically think that's an illness. And I was a very sick, physically sick child. And this is why I have such a big heart for Avatel. It's, the second you're thrown all this medications and things that are in your body, it really shuts those things down. So many children, if we're giving them the proper skills and tools to be able to really embrace their level of awareness and consciousness, they have exceedingly an insane amount of potential. It's beautiful if what we can teach our children these days. Beautiful. So I'm excited.
Beautiful point, Jocelyn.
Beautiful point. I have a question that I'd love to ask, and it's your definition of the difference between religion and spirituality.
Oh, my definition between the difference between
What's the
them.
difference?
That's a good question. So to me, religion is basically, hold on a second. I just want to make sure I'm giving like the most thorough answer. It's more of just a structure where other people participate with you and you share a common belief system, almost like a community. A lot of religions, though, they'll read a book or have information as well. Spirituality, it is a feeling, it's personal. So one is a community and one is personal, but they're both in tune for something else. And when I speak to someone that isn't necessarily spiritual or religious, I explain consciousness or spirit or energy, the passion inside of us. It's that part of us that has the ability to push through insane barriers and walls. It's the part of us that's creative and artistic and smart and intelligent and expansive and conceptual. It's that little tiny voice inside of us that some people would call their conscience. It's that, like, and I think a lot of the times when we use words such as spirit or spirituality or God or consciousness or any of that, people that aren't religious or aren't spiritual have a really hard time relating because they want something that is factual. Well, and the one thing that is factual that our wonderful scientists have proven is energy. Yeah. Energy is a real measurable thing. Vibrations are real. Sonar waves are real. Infrared lights are real. You physically feel energies. And it is proven. And so that's basically the same thing. Some people are just more aware than others, but it's there. It is 100% there.
Beautiful. I think that the difference between religion and the difference between spirituality and the difference between Vegemite, it's all God. It is all God, and we are all God, and we are all energy. And the definitions are just where some people are having that experience for the moment. And I just love it all. I don't. Yeah, and
I'm in the same. Absolutely, I'm in the same page. I say that I'm God, you're God. God lives in every single one of us. And then there's those people that don't believe in God, and they're like, well, what does that mean, Jocelyn? Or that's sacrilegious, or do you have a right to say that? Or what are you saying about God? And I mean, it is just 100%. I believe in oneness, that we're all just the same and we're all one and we're all connected by one source of energy, and it runs through every single one of us. And the sooner we can get in touch with that and gain what I would call our trust in ourselves, then we have the ability to excel and create amazing worlds together. We honor each other, and we share those experiences, and we love each other because you're me and I'm you, and I want to help you. I want to be there with you. I want to watch you succeed.
So the topic of this lab was that Jocelyn sits in source consciousness. What is that like in Jocelyn's world?
It is intense in my world. I cry a lot. I think that my friends probably get annoyed by me, but they don't, because every single day and all day long, I'm like, can you believe this is my life? It's amazing. It's really, honestly, novel eyes all the time. One of the things that I would say is the most beautiful and challenging is when I want to hold on, like as a human being, we have things that are sad, or I want to process through it, or I want to sit with it because we have the belief that it's going to help us grow. And I'll try to find, like, I'm looking for it. I'm like trying to find what I was just sad about just a couple minutes ago, and it's gone so fast. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm okay. But I really understand the significance when you hear about being in the moment and you hear about stillness. Like, you hear it. And the truth is, like, if I was not in the moment and I was not still, I don't even know if I can, I don't know if I could do this. It's so intense. So, like, physically intense. When I touch someone, or I'm around certain energies. And then my life is different. I'm super sensory sensitive. So I pay a lot of attention to the things I eat, my sleeping, and my sleep is different. All my states of consciousness are the same. And I spend a lot of time in meditation, a lot of time in quiet, and I can get insane amounts of things done because I don't really function in time. I would say it's a very different existence, and I'm so appreciative of my mind working with me instead of against me now, because it is almost like it was a punch in the gut, kind of. Like when I got to enlightenment, I was like, wow, it's serious. I started crying. I was like, my work is done, but there's nothingness, you know? And it's a lot to take in for a mind and a body, because you feel it's physically intense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So the question that comes through that is, you mentioned the difference between spending a lot of time in quiet and in meditation. Can you tell me or tell us what those two look like to you? What's the difference with them?
Quiet just means it's just quiet. I think honestly though, I'm probably somewhat in a state of meditation most of the time. And like sometimes if I have music or outside noise, it almost makes my skin crawl, or I'll have physical pain. I'll feel like I'm being tied down when something is not right for me. And so it's like all of a sudden I feel as though like chains are being thrown on me and pulled me down. Like even if I turn on the TV, I almost feel like it's torturous. I haven't watched TV in years. And sometimes music, that was my favorite like a day ago. And that's the other thing that's kind of hard. I wouldn't say hard, but it's a new way I'm adjusting is time. It just seems just harder. It's just different because it's almost like Groundhog Day for me, but it's novel at the same time. And I'll talk to someone, they're like, Jocelyn, that was yesterday. I was like, that was like weeks ago. And they're like, no, that was yesterday. I was like, oh, okay. And so I'm thankful for my calendar programming things in for me. All the people that work with me have they work in flow. So I'm so appreciative of that as well. My time of meditation basically looks like, I wake up, like Source wakes me up about 4:30 in the morning. And the first thing I do is kind of check on some people and make sure the people that I'm close to. And then I usually just communicate and just sit there, lay there, walk. I take a lot of walks, or maybe ride my bike. And those are all states of meditation where I'm like having open communication and conversations. A lot of about like my practices or what I need to be doing. And sometimes the answer is, Jocelyn, you need to be quiet and just sit. We're not talking today. Or sometimes it's like when those universal shifts happen, like over the last couple days, my sleep is definitely different, and it's a lot of like universal prophecy type information of like things that are happening. And so I see like energies moving and people moving and things over here changing. And then I get like almost like instructions, or if I'm about to go through a shift or a change, I'll get woken up or be told, hey, I need you to start doing these things, and this is how your body and your mind is going to change. So if like the information that we're accessing isn't, for me, I have not read about soul growth or like Reiki or any, like this was just all 100% like through my intuition, and no guides or teachers really. So in order for me to know what my next step is, I have to be in a clear place all of the time. Otherwise, physical things do happen. And it's pretty uncomfortable. So I would rather just practice discipline and listening than have physical stuff happen.
Sure. And the process for stilling your mind and quietening down that background chatter, is that just practice, or is there a technique or a tip you can offer?
Oh yeah, for other people for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, so for me now, it's like it doesn't. I remember it was over a year ago, somebody said, you know, to color these mandalas to practice mindfulness. And I was like, oh, that's torturous. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, just just stop your mind. Just, why are we engaging in this when you told me to still my mind? It's still. But it was funny because I almost had to think to color these, and it felt like torture. And I was like, I just want to sit still, please. But it's almost like quicksand too at times. So the way you would find truth or stillness is actually through movement a lot of the times. So there's different ways that you need to move your body and move your energy depending on what vibration you're in, because I call it quicksand. So once you start to access different levels of enlightenment, it feels so hard to move. It just almost picture yourself in the clouds covered in like candy, and like it's just so amazing, and everything feels good. Like the last thing you want to do is physically or mentally move. And then you're like, oh, wait a second, I'm a human being, I should eat some food, you know? And you're like, move your body, and you're like, no. So there is movement. We'll have some truth involved in it. Stilling your mind, though, in the beginning, it really looks like making sure you're honoring your body and moving your energy different. And so I teach a process called integration. And this is really everything that my membership site is based off of. And it's about recognizing the body, recognizing the mind, honoring those things, developing a relationship with the body and mind so you can open the heart and access your energy. And it's really about teaching your brain. And this is the whole reason we developed BLEP as well, but teaching your brain different types of vibrational, like expansiveness, to unwind and develop like an expansive, conceptual way to paint experiences instead of language. And so I use a lot of language to paint an experience because we want to end up being energetic beings rather than a self. And so to still the mind is really allowing the mind to start to unwind and allowing it to kind of open up those trenches. So for example, I say things, I manifest my life and create it. So I say things every day that are different, but one of the things that helped me get here, I said, transform me. I freely, openly, wholeheartedly give myself to you to transform me into any energy or being that will allow me to become an experience for all selves rather than one self. I surrender to a self outside of oneself to be led by a self to serve all selves. And that really allows for the expansiveness. And it's using language like that, experience, freely, openly, painting a picture to invite someone into your world rather than telling them. So one of the ways we do that is by starting to break down what I would call the victimization place of emotions. Emotions, we a lot of the times feel as though we're a victim to them. We're a victim to sad and anger and, you know, pain. Pain is a big one. Physical illness is a big one. It's a hard one to break through because we think we're physical beings. And the truth is we're energetic beings. There's nothing physical about us. We just happen to be, I call it my meat suit, but we're happening to walking around in a meat suit. And a meat suit will work with us if we start honoring it and talking to it and having a relationship differently. So we want to move that energy through us. And so we just picture the energy outside of our body and kind of pull it through and start moving it. And then give it form, shapes, textures, and allow it to not feed our mind. And the second you realize to just be aware, like, oh, I feel this energy in my body, the first thing that our mind wants to do is diagnose it. Oh, that must mean you're anxious. Here's all the things you do for anxiety. No, my body just wants to feel. Leave my body alone. It just wants to experience this. It's fine. And so it is a soothing of the mind and a soothing of the body. And later the mind gets quieter and quieter and quieter. I do notice that there's people that are misaligned. So I see like a soul system, but almost like they're fragmented, and people that tend to be more intellectual or mind-based sometimes have a lot of energy or spirit around them that's trying to access their mind, and they're very far behind in their body. And then you have people that are very accelerated in their body and they're not pulling in the mind or they're pulling in the spirit. And so the goal is to align all three of them on the same vibrational plane. And then the second they're all aligned on the same vibrational plane, you open your heart and you can access your energy very differently. And then it's just moving very, very quickly through consciousness. So E5 programming is designed to align all of those parts. And it is about developing communication. And there are some specific things. I've been so blessed and thankful to just be able to access the information that can really help people align themselves and develop a communicative relationship with all their parts. I call it all their parts. Yeah. So, I mean, ultimately, we're completely whole. We're one whole being, and almost picture like that whole being started raining and parts just kind of got fragmented. And we just want to pull it together and just allow ourselves to become bigger and bigger. And then this bottom layer, it's just like little bits and pieces. And as we continue to grow, our energy gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until we start to like really share space with people. Yeah.
I love it.
Did you have a question for me before we end today?
No, I was just sitting here.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask you, how do you work with your clients one-on-one? What do you offer them on a one-on-one?
Oh, so I actually have coaches that work with me, and so my coaches will work with people one-on-one. I typically do not do one-on-one consulting with anybody. It would be a very rare case, or somebody that would already, almost like there would have to be a conversation and we'd have to talk about it. The things that I personally do, it's pretty intense, my process. So I connect with them energetically. I say that I creep around your soul system in your mind. I go into your mind. I pull out every single fear-based belief system and structure. I pull those to the surface to allow you to break through your mind much quicker. And I speak truth to you. I raise your vibration. I work in audios as well, and I speak to you through different audio clips. And I basically, it tends to be a 30-day or less process with me to access consciousness and kind of start to pull you along. And I also like to teach them how to develop their intuition at the same time. And so I work with people that are ready to, use their intuition and also ready to access consciousness. So both of those things, taking them from a place of victimization to creationism. That's what I call it.
Oh, good.
I just mentioned that that you were moving away from one-on-one and training people to facilitate that, and your focus was much more on a speaking, teaching, corporate arena.
Yeah, I tend to work with business structures a lot more. It's easier for me energetically, and I can affect a lot of people. So speaking wise, it's easier energetically as well. So when I go into a large audience, I feel as though I'm much more effective. And then with business, there's like no emotional attachment whatsoever. A business entity isn't going to feel my energy. It's just going to benefit from like the restructure and the evolvement. And then it's going to allow for all the people in the business to access consciousness. So I really like working with the leaders of business, like CEOs, presidents of corporations, or like the business structures themselves, and then just do speaking and finishing up these couple books that I'm writing.
I'm probably going to invite everyone to just close now. We've been here for an hour, which has been beautiful. Now, knowing the law of attraction and how it works, anyone that comes across this recording at any point in time will be attracted to us, whether it be individually or collectively. So I'd like to just invite, firstly, Avatar to open and just mention to people how they can find you and briefly what you do and why they would be wanting to work with you, and a link as to how they can do that. And we'll just do that individually, and then we'll move on our way. So over to you, Avatar.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like Jocelyn, I've been shifting a little bit of the focus of my work to both the one-on-one healing consultations, but also to be speaking to large audiences. I am putting together a book right now of stories, including mine, of people who were told that they couldn't heal, that somehow did. It's been a wonderful project. There's a lot of great people in that book. And then I have quite a bit of other writing. I'm writing for some online magazines, and then I also have my blog, so you can already take advantage of this. And you can go to my website at www.avitalmiller.com. If you do want to set up a one-to-one with me, then just feel free to call me and we can set up a time. And that's 503-307-3756. And then, of course, you can email me. It's info@avitalmiller.com, and you can see the spelling of my name on there, I think. So thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you.
And Dee,
Hi, I'm Dee. As I've just said, I'm Dee Gibson, www.dgibson.com.au for Australia. I am a psychic medium, a numerologist, an author, public speaker, and a trainer. And I do one-on-ones and I do workshops. So anyone wanting to get in touch with me, Australia, www.dgibson.com.au.
Thank you, Dee.
Thank you.
Yeah, very much.
So to reach me, you could go to jocelynhilling.com, check out the E5 programming. I have tons of amazing information on my membership site that's completely affordable and accessible for everyone there. You can also look me up on YouTube or any of my social media sites to get access to free videos, audios, and downloads. Or feel free to reach out to any of my coaches on my membership site as well. So thank you. That's jocelynhilling.com.
Thank you, Jocelyn. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you.
Yes, thank you so much for doing this, Michelle, and thank you for inviting me here. It's been just phenomenal, and I look forward to collaborating again in the future.
Oh, I have one really big question left, but I'm going to save that for next time.
Ooh, I'm excited.
So for anyone that's looking to connect with me to bring these beautiful people together at another time, you'll find me at $1,000,000mindset.com, within the community hub on Facebook at Entrepreneurs Globally Unite. And it's been a pleasure. I hope you got something out of today. I'm sure you will. And again, Jocelyn and Dee and Avital and whoever comes across this recording, we wish you a beautiful, beautiful day. Enjoy the ride. It's worth it. And connect with us if you need any help along the way. And again, Jocelyn, huge gratitude, love, and much, much light.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Let's dive in and honor our promise. And Avital, you are going to receive a reading from Jocelyn. Do you have a question in mind that you can pose to her just to make it a little less open so that you can get some source guidance through Jocelyn?
Yeah. Well, Jocelyn's familiar with kind of, what my business is, what I'm starting to work on, and where I am personally in relationship with that. So I kind of want to open the door for you to say anything that you're seeing at this moment. But there is a specific question, which is just turning the page of gearing my marketing and for the healing programs. If I should focus on one specific ailment, for instance, the ones that I dealt with, Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism, or keep it broad, or start narrow and then broaden it later. What are you seeing in relationship to that?
Well, great question. I would, before I actually go into Avital's reading, I want to preface and let everyone know, one of the things, I don't call myself as a psychic or an intuitive, and I use the word reading because it best relates to so many people. And reading best relates to so many people, but basically I see everything in energies or vibrations. And so I just access everything that you already know and you've already created, and then just put words to that for you. And I look at all possible routes and avenues before, after, even as I'm speaking, to see how things sink in. And so it is different than probably like a reading, but it's fun, and we could have a lot of fun with it. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so first, I feel as though I've said this before to you, but maybe I haven't. But I see like six things, 6 books, or 6 specific markets that you're going to tie yourself into. And they are a little bit broader or larger. One of them, I do see chronic pain, and it looks like you keep pain separate from autoimmune. So I see autoimmune diseases, then I see pain, like physical pain, and or pain, and then that one's broken up to two. It's like emotional and then physical. So you have autoimmune, and then you have physical and emotional. I see like respiratory as well. Let me see. Children's, something specifically for children. And it's more like a mother's guide to healing your children. And it has recipes, and it has pictures. And then with that one, there's a children's one, like meaning a children's book that teaches them healing and like developing a relationship with their body. And it's that one goes with the mom's book. So like the mom's book has like recipes, tinctures, like foods, like all sorts of stuff that has to do with healing. And I feel like you team up with other people in regards to that one. So that doesn't seem like to be your own endeavor. And then the children's book goes with it. And it's about also forming a relationship with the mom and the children, about teaching them a specific language and developing their body, being aware of their body, and allowing the kids to start practicing what I would call healing on themselves and healing through their body and healing through nutrition, food, and other things. And children need to be given the language to be able to verbalize this to the parents. So it's, and it looks like you team up with someone, I want to say she feels like a kindergarten teacher, but she feels like a teacher. And she feels like somebody that knows a lot about like the whole children's realm. And the children's book, both of them have illustrations in it. So these two books are different than your other ones. And then those ones break off. The books that I gave you break off, except for the respiratory one. And you also have another thing, of course, with the healing practitioners, and then that breaks off. So each one of these is like a big web, but the specific autoimmune diseases breaks off, and then the pain one breaks off. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then in regards to your business or marketing, it feels like there's a couple, when you do joint ventures with other people, you want to be really particular, or I guess mindful about the people you're attracting, because you're going to attract a lot of people in general, but you want to also attract people that will put in just as much work as you're putting in. And I feel like some of the people that you're attracting do not do that. And so you get really excited, and then you carry all of the weight, and almost there's a part of you that gets let down because they have valuable insight, valuable information. I mean, they would be a phenomenal business partner if they actually did the work that you do, but they're not doing it. So I almost feel like you need an outside advisor at times to be able to see past what I would call like their passion, to see if they're actually going to be able to follow through with the work portion of it, or just decide to do all of the work portion of it and make sure you also have all of the credit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Did I answer all your questions? Do you need clarity on anything?
Yeah. Well, just because I just sent out saying that I'm doing the health conscious, and I left that general. But I'm going to create a web page next, and maybe I could start with saying something like for chronic pain and autoimmune disorder, because those are the two areas that I, feel like I know the most about to start with, if I were to create a focus for people.
Okay. And you're talking about the health coaching, is that right? Or the healing?
The health coaching. Yeah.
And that one I see.
The health coaching and the healing.
Say that one more time.
Are you separating the health coaching and the healing? Because I feel like depending on the people, that can be combined, depending on what.
Yeah. Well, and there can be, you can take that two different routes, but I consider it like all encompassing healing in general. Yeah. What I do see are these cards, and I think I told you that before. And so these cards are where your money's going to be made. And these cards, and I call them cards, but they can be discs, they can be audios, they can be a lot of different ways, but I'm just seeing like a whole bunch, like a series, and they have, affirmations, they have recipes, they have all sorts of things per illness. It almost looks like a directory database that you could also put on your website It's very, very inexpensive. And then you can also get products made and it's done. This can go different ways. And I mean, also I'm seeing something about your body. So you also want to be very sensitive to this, meaning when you start pulling in a lot of those energies into like a group format, if you're setting the intention to make it like a dialogue to feed the mind, you're going to physically feel that on your body. Now, if you're going to set it up in a format as to teaching them how to heal themselves, that's going to be a little bit different, but you still need to be really mindful about your body because all of a sudden I just saw your body kind of like crushing with some of these energies. And so I would almost set the intention of saying that we're doing this to educate you on how to heal your body and things that we got to do and like an accountability, but it should not be you to hold people accountable. Like you can't do that for you and provide them with all the information. So I almost see like a group leader or somebody like kind of taking over that has also gone through their own healing and them feeling very, very empowered by the process. And also just encouraging to you, feel free to start wherever you're comfortable because you're comfortable there, but you don't necessarily need to limit it or limit yourself to just doing pain or autoimmune. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It's just constantly when I work with coaches, they're always telling me to create a very clear niche. It never feels right inside of me to be that defined because I've already been helping people in all different areas.
Right. And this is where I say it gets super fun for me. One of the reasons I'm doing instinctive business consulting is because we're living in an evolved world now and business needs to change. We're evolving, business is evolving, coaching's evolving. There's no part of us that is designed to be in a box anymore. Marketing's got to change. Business has got to change. Everything is changing. This is why I developed BLEP with David is because everything's got to change. If we're all of a sudden working from a new platform and this other platform is completely gone and new energy is brought in, how does it make any sense to continue doing? I always say, why are we riding a rusty old bike in a hovercraft town? Why are we doing the same thing? And a lot of the systems that we have in place are meant to feed the mind and comfort and soothe a human body. But if we're starting to become superhuman and we're starting to evolve to different levels, then no part of us actually needs to soothe that person by putting them in a box or putting yourself in a box. Healing is healing. Pain is pain. Suffering is suffering. Like in general, we suffer from so many things. And I consider you to be a healer. And a health healer. It has health and healing. Those two things I always see in the title when I think of you. I'm like health and healing. And when I use the word health, I'm thinking all around health. And health is, I talk about mental health. I'm like, there's no such thing as mental health. It is health. Health, health, health. We have health. We have a conscious health. We have an evolved health. So kind of the same thing with you. Feel free. And you can do what you want with it. Your brand is you. So like when somebody said, well, Jocelyn, what's your brand? I'm like, anybody that knows me knows my brand is evolve. It doesn't matter what I say, or if I'm an instinctive business consultant today and I'm doing a reading on you tomorrow, I'm about evolving. I'm about evolving. That's it. However, I'm going to evolve people in business and whatever I look like that day, that's how I'm willing to show up. Yes. Okay. So that's good, right?
Yeah, that's great.